What's up, guys? I'm out here at University of Washington, right outside the George Washington statue, the namesake of Washington State. You know, I've been walking around campus the last few days and I've been seeing campus tours going on. And you know, I figured like, why don't I just give a campus tour from the Walking with Eric perspective? I feel like one of UW's like biggest selling points is like, oh, it's a beautiful campus. But like, when you think about it, like, what college doesn't have a beautiful campus, you know? And then I'm not disagreeing with what UW does. It does. But like, let's discover what else it has to offer in addition to the beautiful campus. Actually, the George Washington statue is one of the most underrated parts on campus because he's actually staring out there to the Olympic Peninsula as we've been before. You know, you could see the mountains, the snow-capped mountains. He's looking directly at Mount Olympus, actually, the biggest one. So now I'm here in probably one of the most famous parts of campus, Red Square. Right, we got Red Square here, and here's the Odegaard Library. So this is the undergraduate library. This is kind of the go-to library. People are like, oh, you want to go to Ode? That's what they call it, right? Me, half the time, I'm like, no, you know, because I'm not a big fan, actually, because like, it's hot in there, you know? This might be a me problem, but I walk in there and I'm like, ooh. And then like, you have to have your Husky card ready, because like, they have people like just standing there, like waiting to see your like card. And I'm like, whoa. What's going on? We got these two pillars here. I don't really know what they do, but they're cool. I mean, they always got these banners on them. They change the banners usually every season or something like that. And then right here we got Kane Hall, and you know, it's brutal, I know. Ooh. I kept hearing people like, oh, I have a class in Kane. I had part of my orientation there, and I was like, what, it's not that bad. Like, it's a nice lecture hall inside. But then this quarter, I actually have a class in there. So I walk down the hall into the main area, and I'm like, where's the bathroom? And then I see a sign that's like, bathrooms are available on the ground and second floor. And I was like, and then here, of course, we have the Suzzaloo Library, named after Henry Suzzaloo. I think he was president of Washington, or at least the territory of Washington, and the president of UW. This one, I feel like, does live up to the hype. I mean, look at the outside. Look how fantastic that is. You got the stained glass. In like about an hour, the sun's gonna rise and it's gonna shine through it. I was like, it's gonna be so cool. It has the Harry Potter reading room in there, which, you know, they show on the tour. It's fantastic. It's awesome. Once you go like further in, it's definitely more of like a 70s, 80s, very like college library, but it's still a good library. I really like studying there. You know, you don't gotta show your card. Anyone can go in. They got Starbucks in there. Never been in that one because it's so busy all the time, you know. And then we start coming out of Red Square and we get this magnificent, and I don't use that word often, you know, magnificent view of Mount Rainier right here. Of course, you can't see it well on the camera, and it's funny because like you see it like on the UW website, they have a great picture of it, and like then it's like, oh, that's the selling point right there. I always see people walk by. I'm like walking, you know, and then they're always taking pictures, but like, you know, the pictures like never show up good, like on your phone, you know what I'm saying? Like you need like a high intense lens to get it. When you're walking here, you got the fountain usually going, like I'm out here so early, the fountain's not going yet, but you can see the fountain, you see the mountain, you're like, wow, the fountain mountain, this is amazing. Even when I'm walking like perpendicular to it in the winter and it's cloudy and rainy, I always like give a peek. I'm like, is it out today? You know, no, but when it is in spring and fall, it's like, ah. I just walked over here and we're at Mary Gates Hall. Now this is named after Bill Gates' mom, and they always say on the tour, they're like, we named it after his mom because if you're a parent, this is where you want your kid to go to get taken care of. I think that's pretty smart too. They got tons of resources in there, and usually I feel like if there's gonna be a class in there, it's gonna be like a review session or something like that, or like a quiz section, which is like basically just like a supplemental section. And then right over here we have the Allen Library, which is connected to Suzzaloo right over there. I actually feel like this is a better library for studying because it's kind of like far away from all of like the loudness that Suzzaloo can have, and you know, it's just kind of like a good vibe. The Allen Library also has this like under passage right here which echoes, and I think it's super cool. Another underrated part of campus, which is right next to the Allen Library, is this little kind of like forest area right here. Like you can walk through there. You got these amazing evergreen trees. You got this grass lawn. In the winter, this grass lawn is like, you know, it's all wet. No one's on it. But like the last few days, people have been on it. It's springtime, you know. There's like the goose patch right here. There's a bunch of goose poop, bunch of gooses, geese. And outside here is the hub. Now, this is one of my favorite places. It's like, it's the hub, you know? It's the hub of campus. But also it stands for Husky Union Building. And it's got like a dining hall down there. It's alright, it's okay. It's a fun place to study with people. I think you got tables, you know, you can talk a little bit, you know, it's like, okay, let's go. But yeah, like the dining hall, like, if you have a dining plan, I think it's worth it. It's like, okay, it's like I can go here, you know, I can go here every day. I do. But like if you're paying like with your credit card, like I mean, I'd rather just pack a lunch, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, let's get this $12 like burrito. I'm like, oh. Like if you have a dining plan, like if you just happen to have one, then yeah, it's worth going to. But like I wouldn't go out of your way to get a dining plan so you can eat at the hub, like, you know, like. Okay, and then behind the hub, I feel like this is like where the really smart people are, and I'm walking around like, wait, what am I doing here? You know, like there's the interdisciplinary engineering building, which they just finished. It's okay, it's not amazing, but it's fine. Then we got like these big old buildings like Lowe Hall, the mechanical engineering building, a very classic, like what you think like a college engineering building would be like. It's just kind of like, you know, like kind of hot in there, few windows, you know what I'm saying? And then we got the Paul G. Allen Center for Computer Science and Engineering. I always walk by here and I'm like, oh, Paul Allen, Seahawks, hey. My friend Sanjay showed me around in there. He's a comp sci major. He showed me to like this bottom basement area where people love to study. And it's like this weird place, no windows. They got a shower in there, and like it's a kind of just like open 24 hours. They know that these comp sci people aren't getting any sleep, so they're like, you know what, here's a nice little place for you. And then right across from Paul Allen's building, we have the Bill and Melinda Gates Center. Definitely like a newer, like very fancy. You walk in there, like as a psych major, you're like, what's going on in here? You know, you got the Amazon auditorium, you got these screens in there, like, whoa. And then from here we get a great view of the Cascade Mountains out there in Lake Washington. Fantastic. Coming up from Stevens Way, now I'm approaching North Campus, and I always tell people this is the point of campus. You start noticing that the personalities are changing. They're starting to talk a little louder, you know, walk more like this. So I'm approaching the North Residence Halls. We got District Market right here, one of like the little kind of convenience stores, but a little bit of a grocery market, a little bit. You know, you get used dining points there though. And so North Campus Residence Hall, it's like this newer kind of area, right? They like renovated it in 2018 or something. And like, it definitely has a more extroverted, like kind of feel to it. You got the field out here, people are playing out here, laying out here. It's much more of a college atmosphere if you think about it like that, you know? It also makes perfect sense because it's right next to Greek Row. So let's say like, you know, you get into a frat, but like you didn't like sign up early enough. You're not in the house, you know, you're in here, you go over to Greek Row, you hang out with your boys, you know? It's much more extroverted over here, much more. You know, like in West Campus where I live, you might as well call it Introvert Square. And it's not like people in West Campus are all introverted, but just like the way it's laid out, it's more part of the city aspect with the roads and the buses and stuff like that. So it's not so much room to interact here. It's like, yeah, man, I just had Pogs, man. Pogs meaning Pagliacci, of course. And over here, like they've been rebuilding this Haggett Hall, which kind of complements McMahon Hall, which is one of the older residence halls. It is where Ted Bundy stayed when he went there. And when we peek through, we can see a great view of Lake Washington. Fantastic. And another reason I think for this personality change is right below North Campus Residence Halls, we have these two Foster buildings, technically three, but like the Foster School of Business building. Foster's like, it's different. There's something weird. It's like a whole different brand from UW, it feels like. So I actually took my first class here in Founders Hall. Funny story, it was my first day. It was raining. I locked myself out of my room and I only had shorts and a t-shirt on. And like, I realized I don't have anything. So I just went out in shorts and a t-shirt all soaked in the rain into this Founders Hall where I had my first class. I just came in here and I felt like I was like, out of place, you know? It's all fancy in there. Even when I took Issa in there, she was like, Eric, you're in the future. And I was like, yeah, it feels like that. And then like we got Packer Hall and Dempsey Hall. They're connected. They're both super fancy inside too. But like Foster like has this like strange like status on campus, you know? Like when I was in that first class, my teacher was like, yeah, this is my first quarter at Foster. And I was like, Foster? Why does everyone say Foster? It's just like, oh, Foster, you know? Like don't walk around hearing people like, oh yeah, like in the Paul G. Allen Computer Science and Engineering program, you know, like they don't say like, oh, I'm in Paul Allen, you know, I'm in Allen, you know, they don't say that, like, but they always say Foster. It's like this strange brand. The classes are different, man. There's a curve in every class, super competitive. It's crazy. And like even the professors are a little different. They're all like pretty nice, the ones I've had. You always see the professor with their coffee, like, oh yeah. Like it's like they're at a business meeting. You know, it's so interesting. And then like the students are usually more like, oh yeah, this entrepreneurship. It's like, whoa, It's like, whoa, it's like my startup. But I'll give Foster credit. I can't go in one of these buildings and not feel like I'm being productive, you know, like feeling like, oh yeah, like I'm an entrepreneur. There's this cool little terrace up there in Packer Hall. Like, if it's nice out, if it's sunny out, you know, it's a great place to study. But, you know, most of the time it's cold and then my fingers get cold, you know, so I'm like, no. And it's such an interesting contrast. So right next to these Foster buildings, we have Denny Hall here, which is like the original building. This is like the original UW, you know, named after Arthur A. Denny. You know, there's Denny Way. He was a governor and I think president, just like Henry Susan. It's like they were always like governor, and then they're like, you know what, I'm gonna be president of UW now. And it's like, wait, what? Here's a fantastic view of Denny Hall. It's okay inside. They renovated it. I had a class in there. It's all right, but the outside is kind of just down from Denny Hall, we have the Quad, or the Liberal Arts Quadrangle, as it's also known. And like here, you know, the cherry blossoms, they're gone now. But like they still have the leaves. I like that. People are always here during the cherry blossom season. It's like 2 weeks. Everyone's like, whoa. But yeah, like this is a great place to hang out. It's just a great place to walk through too. I always try to find a way to get through the Quad. I remember I had a class here. I was like, oh man, it's in the Quad, you know, but like it's actually a little overrated to have a class in the Quad, I think. Like I've had like 3. All the buildings, like they're like super old. They're like hot inside, but maybe they're too cold inside. Like in the fall especially, there's something about like kind of walking in there, your feet are all wet, you know, it's like it was cold, but now you're hot because you're in your jacket, and there's like, it's like all warm in there. You sit down and you're like, it's wet, but it's hot. I'm like, what? But yeah, walking through the Quad, you know, you go up here, you walk around, you're like, okay, this is cool. Here we have the fountain going. It is that time. I think it starts turning on at 7 every day, actually. I don't think these are cherry blossoms, but they look an awful lot alike them, and they're still blooming down here. I think they're different than the ones in the Quad, but yeah, it's fantastic. You're walking through here, you're like, oh wow, you know, wow. And here by the fountain, we have the backside of the Mary Gates Hall right there, and there's the backside of the Paul G. Allen Library. There's the chemistry place. I've never been there. And then right here we have Sieg Hall, which is such an interesting place. I mean, like I've been in like 3 classes in there. If you have an even numbered class, it's not too bad. It's all right. But if you have an odd number class, like it's strangely crazy because like the sun will just shine in and make it super hot in there. I had one in the winter and it was like it's too hot in here. Like we had to like open the windows to let the cool air in, but the sun was also coming in from the same windows. It was weird. And then right next to it, we also have Guggenheim Hall, which I've been in one time, and it was because Sanjay, the comp sci guy, he and his engineer friends were going to this Blue Origin like meeting. They had free pizza. I was like, okay. What they were talking about, like the engineering people, like we got 20 cc's of Now off of Rainier Vista, a little bit down, and like over on Stevens Way, this is like a secluded part of campus that like not many people go to, but it's actually really cool. It's like you get all these trees, and then this building here, I think it's like the biology building that has to do with plants and like botany, life sciences building, and like it's like kind of like it blends in with this like foresty area. It's really cool. I really enjoy walking over here. And then right down from it, you have like the physics buildings. There's like the physics and astronomy building, like, and you got this like weird like bowling pin right in the middle. It's always kind of funny. I just walk in, I'm like, oh, that's there. And then when you're looking toward the water, you can always see the Space Needle just kind of like popping up. It's always like, hey. Down here is 15th Avenue, which is kind of like the transit hub. You know, there's like a bus only lane. There's a bunch of buses just going up and down here all day. You know, we got this little alcove right here. We got a little path we can go on. I just noticed this little patch of grass, which is pretty cool. And we can end the tour here. The George Washington statue is kind of just up that way, across the street. We'll end the tour here at this Pop Health building, or Population Health is the full name. This is like the first building I went in, and I was like, whoa, this is also crazy. It's like, I don't even know what Population Health is. There's like this giant building. Of course, there's a Starbucks in there. It's Seattle, they gotta have Starbucks. And I do think that is the best Starbucks on campus because it's generally less busy than the other ones that are on like kind of the main campus. And they're always friendly in there too. You know, you just kind of vibe in there, and like the bathrooms are super futuristic. It's like, whoa, this is crazy. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed my honest review of UW. Of course, it's a beautiful campus, but there's also a lot of other beautiful things about it. And then there's a lot of interesting things that you may not have known before. So hopefully you learned a little something. I really enjoyed this walk. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.